If you
Hello.
wanna be with me, I will treat you the right way. You better come and set me free, baby, 'cause I like what you do. That's right.
Welcome to For the Exposure podcast. It's your host, Tiffany. I have a very special guest for my first episode. We do have a little bit of a confession to make. We recorded for the first time in October, and both are allegedly two professional musicians. However, did not check to see if the microphone was on. So for the second time as a guest, but my very first episode, I have the wonderful and talented Nick Wilders.
Hello. We had a really, really lovely conversation. I don't know. Can you actually hear anything that I said, or is it just.
You could. It was
Yeah.
just very faint. It was a really good conversation. I'm sure this one will be
Yeah.
too, because we always have great conversations. I'd love to give our audience just a little peek at your accomplishments and everything you do in the city and outside of the city, because currently Nick is touring with Phantom of the Opera. Before that, he was part of the off-Broadway run of Titanic.
Yeah, it's going to Broadway.
And now it's going to Broadway. That's so
Show's going to Broadway.
exciting.
We're very excited.
He also did a lot for American Pops Orchestra. You were orchestrating there as well, correct?
Yeah, still am, but have been working with them since 2021. So
wonderful.
Coming up on 5 years.
Yeah, Nick he's a conductor, a music director, pianist.
And we did a film and live theater project called In My Own Little Corner that premiered.
Yes.
Has not premiered publicly, but is in the film festival circuit, and we really enjoy and did the live version of it last year in 2025, where Tiff played violin.
Yes, I was so bummed when I missed the hang. I think it was at the end of the summer or something. But Let's tell the guests how we know each other. Let's start off there.
Yeah, I would love to. So, zoom in on a girl over here. I guess it was 2018.
I think so.
Yeah. I had just gotten off tour before I moved to New York. I toured with the Broadway tour of Jersey Boys, and I had just moved to the city and was happy to be working and kind of doing all kinds of gigs. I've also worked at a lot of churches, so I didn't grow up in the church, but I started playing keyboard in church bands when I was in middle school, and that really went into high school, college, and then beyond that. So this was a church, a very unique church in New Jersey that I don't think we need to name, but we can say that it was kind of a cult. And
a very inclusive cult.
A very inclusive cult in their own way. It was in a gated community, and I ended up working there in their house band for a long time, and it was a wild ride. But my first gig there, and not you had played there before, right?
No,
okay.
I only think I did 2 services with
for
them.
The holidays where they hire the big rigmarole and we have a full band. It's usually just a house rhythm section.
Mm-hmm.
It was the holidays-ish. Was it Easter?
Easter.
Okay, so yeah, it was Easter. Then it would have been Easter 2018. And we were there with a choir and a brass section and string section. Obviously, you were on violin, and we became super good homies right away. And then you remember this next part of the story better than I do.
I do remember that, we definitely clicked right away. Mm-hmm. And then we started singing Adele covers.
Yeah. at the piano for no reason on a break. Yeah.
So that was one of those moments this person's really cool. They can do the weird thing. And just
I thought you were cool because you played violin, but then you also clearly sang, and you told me that you danced. I just remember, but none of these were hustle. You weren't in any way trying to be and get me a gig, even though we are proverbially always after the bag. But
we need to get matching money bag tattoos.
Yeah, for sure. Where would those tattoos go?
Maybe on the cheek. I think that could be cute.
On the cheek. But we won't tell you which cheek. So we hit it off. We've talked about this so much. When you find somebody who holds similar musical value to you and has similar values as a person, just of having fun on a break, chilling, not really making a huge deal out of everything, and just sort of being a good hang and being around, you stick with those people. And I think it was pretty clear early on that we were both really musical chameleons in a lot of ways. I knew where we were really good at things, but also able to fit into a lot of different vibes and a lot of different hangs, which is really important as a musician when you're trying to make a livelihood so that you can be in the environment where you're going to get the bag and get paid, but that you're also able to fit into it. And even if it's not your native musical language, you know how to be around it and be successful in it, get the job done, execute the service, creatively contribute where you can. And I think it was really clear early on that was something that we were both interested in being good at.
Yeah, basically what Nick is saying is if you're a good hang, you could get a best friend out of the most random gig.
Totally,
You never know what you can get from a gig.
Yeah.
Did I think from some random place in New Jersey that I was going to have this friend for now 7 years, over 7 years? Like,
and we're not talking Hoboken, dog. This is like deep Jersey.
We were in the forest.
Yeah.
There was forestry. We were winding around.
Everywhere.
I think I had to rent a car for this gig because there were no buses and trains that went there.
No, I didn't have a car at the time, so I always had to get a ride, and then I just started driving there. But one time later on, when I was at the church regularly, I took a bus and the ferry down to Staten Island to get a ride from the guitarist for the band.
Didn't he just get married?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome.
He just got married, but I woke up at like 3:45 in the morning to take a bus down to get the Staten Island ferry, and then a bus from the Staten Island ferry to like walk to John's house and meet him there at 6 a.m. I was really, really out here.
The things we do for money, I think there's a whole other part to gigs that is just getting to the gig, truly. So
totally,
that is one thing you have got to have grit.
Or a car.
Oh, yeah. But then once you have a car, it's parking or you're paying for parking. So it's never ending headache. There's a gig that you'll never forget, good or bad?
Well, if I tell the full version of the story, it's going to take an hour. But when I was working at my first summer stock theater, I was the associate music director for a world premiere musical at a wonderful summer stock theater in New Hampshire. They were looking for somebody to be the lead in the show that had some sort of movie credits or whatever, or some sort of notoriety. And they found somebody that was like a B-list movie star person that shall not be named. And
B-list?
Yeah. And for reference, I grew up in Amish country. I was not like a city slicker. Like I really didn't know a lot. My dad always tells me that I have corn-fed charm. So this was all huge. I ended up being at this rehearsal because our music director was occupied in other stuff, and all this crazy stuff happened. We ended up rehearsing at the housing where they were housing this guy. And I got there. I was obviously early. He was not early. In fact, could not operate the shower in the house where he was staying. And he calls down the stairs, I need somebody to help me fix the shower up here. And, little like bumpkin me, I was like, oh, I got it. And so I like went to go help him. It was a normal ass shower. I don't know.
Was it broken?
No. It was
like, turn it on for me.
Turn it on for me. And then I was like, okay, cool. So I got the shower working, and he like starts to like disrobe, and I'm like, I'm out, dog. So he gets down to rehearsal, and by this point he has showered and clothed himself. In the rehearsal, he is very bad. So we're going through the music. We find out very quickly that he can't sing. The artistic director and the stage manager and I are all sitting there. I'm like really, really trying to make this work. Stage manager is kind of cackling, and the artistic director is like, what have we done? So we get to the break. A couple other like funny, random, weird things happen. And I go outside. The artistic director comes up to me and she says, hey, it's not working out with this guy, with this actor, but he really likes you. And he is a rare book collector and had plans to drive around New England looking for rare books. Do you have a car? And yet again, we find out that a car does come in handy, kids, because I used that car to drive this man all around New Hampshire and Vermont looking for the Velveteen Rabbit and this edition of one of the Hardy Boys books.
So not doing anything music related. You stopped
0%. I stopped my associate music directing responsibilities at that point and
to look for a book.
Yeah, became a driver. And we went looking for these books. And in the process, I got in a mild car accident when I pulled out of a spot and somebody hit the back of my car and then drove away. And this guy was like, oh God, the guy, he was like texting and talking to his agent, the kid driving me around, saying all these incendiary stuff about the theater. And I was like, this is wackadoo. And then when we were at the fourth place, the artistic director had texted me and she said, it's time to come home. And then we came
And
back.
you were 19.
Yeah, or 20. Yeah.
Okay, so
19,
look,
yeah.
this is crazy, especially being a young kid. Sometimes we don't feel often we have that voice to say something. Or also, when you started with the shower, I thought this story was going to go so much differently. So I'm so glad it didn't go where my morbid brain thought it was going to go, because I did just watch the Elizabeth Smart documentary last night. So my brain is very morbid.
That's a very different podcast.
Yes, but
Yeah.
but now you're in your 30s.
Yeah.
How would you have, would you have handled it differently? Would you have been like, someone else can do this? Or for anyone listening that is young or maybe older, you know, sometimes I have a hard time finding my voice. Like, would you have done it differently? Would you have still gone along?
Yeah. I'm really, really glad you asked that. I have always really prioritized good stories and things that I think are funny because
For the plot.
you know, when we were in our 20s, my best friend and I would always say, do it for the story. And it kind of became this tagline. So I am really interested in doing stuff because I think it's funny and entertaining, and because I'm interested in living my life fully. You know, like I moved to New York and embarked on this career touring the country, working on cruise ships, working all over the world because I wanted to do something and be a part of something interesting. So I really in my 20s valued doing things for the story. And what I found in my late 20s was this struggle between the balance of when to advocate for yourself and when to just go along with it and not resist. When I was in my late 20s into early 30s, I was fighting that fight all the time. I'm not really going to say combative, but I was ready to defend myself and defend other people. I was working for a pretty big entertainment conglomerate, and I advocated for the singers to be paid for something they weren't being paid for, that wasn't part of their contract, and was let go for the job 3 days later. And, you know, under the auspices.
Is that legal?
Yes, because there were provisions within the contract for situations like that. So in hindsight, how worth it for me was it to advocate for these people and for this situation? And I really wrestled with that for a while because it was a difficult thing to be let go of. It was a job I really liked and I had a lot of future planned for and was promised a lot of future. And was that worth the sacrifice? And because now I'm 32 and I have a lot of career and life and opportunities left in me, but I now am a little bit better at discerning where those opportunities where I'm going to be represented well and people are going to be taken care of. I think now in this era in my life, especially where I'm working for Phantom of the Opera, which is this deep storied culture of a show that also has always fallen under union protection. And I'm certainly not saying that our unions are perfect. I think that performer unions have a long way to go in protection, but I am now protected in a way that I'm not in some of those more chaotic environments, and the people around me are protected more too. I think I will always be the kind of person that fights for people to be treated fairly and accept the consequences on the behalf of those actions. Now, I am more prone to weigh how important it is for my voice to be the voice in that moment. I'm also taking into account, is the voice of a white man the one to say this thing right now? Am I trying to advocate and have some sort of white savior complex for something that has nothing to do with me?
I mean, I see what you're saying, but I will say that girls, we've all been in this situation, whether it's at a gig or even if it's like something with your lease or your apartment. I've heard of people very close to me, they're reaching out to their landlord. The landlord won't talk to them, but then when their boyfriend or their partner reaches out and it's a man, then they'll talk to the guy. I think it depends on the scenario. It's more frustrating when it's like if we're both saying the same thing and then they're listening to the guy in the room. But that, I think that's part of a larger problem. I think I think we need more white men to be speaking on certain issues.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's really
Multifaceted.
it's really really squirrely. And now when you have a lot of white men that are a lot more aware of our own privilege in these scenarios and in different situations, I'm not wanting to overrepresent something that doesn't have to do with me, but also recognizing that because of the way that I mean, Western society has unfolded, I hold a certain amount of privilege.
I do think that the fact that you are reflecting on this and asking that, it just shows you're different than probably the.
Yeah. I mean, I also like am a man that is attracted to men, and so I'm around a lot of
I'm a man.
I'm a man that's attracted to man, and I think I'm around a lot of other queer men that sort of hold space for this thought. Not all queer men, obviously, but I think that's a good point. I think that a lot of the like other white dudes that I'm around have wrestled with these questions and changed their behavior because of it.
Have you
Hopefully.
ever experienced anything like on a gig related to your sexuality that made you uncomfortable or, being treated differently because of that? Does that still happen in this day and age?
It's a great question. I mean, in theater, most of the time, no. Thankfully, theater is in many ways the bedrock of the American musical theater, especially, well, maybe not the bedrock, but the second layer where we got to like commercial Broadway theater was really influenced by gay men in small ways, maybe, but working in churches, yeah. Actually, from that same church, I had stopped being asked back probably less than a month after my now fiance, then boyfriend, came to the service.
Wait, no, what? I thought they
Yeah.
had like a flag and everything.
No, they do. That's the thing. But then everybody was like hella weird when I came in and I was like, "Oh, this is my fiance." And they were like, "Oh." But it was quiet, right? I mean, now I didn't really grow up in the church, so most of my affiliation with religion as an organized thing, not so much spirituality, but religion, is being employed in these environments.
Mhm.
And I remember in college definitely not talking about my boyfriend at the time. So when I
Oh, yeah.
have gotten into church environments now, I don't ever hide that I am engaged to a man, shout out, or that
Jonathan! I love Jonathan.
Jonathan!
Shout out to Jonathan. Jonathan, I love you so much.
Love him as well. And he is one of the best parts, if not the best thing in my life to ever happen to me. I'm never going to shy away from that. I'm never going to lie about it. But of course, queer men and queer women, queer people in general, have to constantly wrestle with when to advocate for yourself and talk about your queer identity and when to not. And I think a lot of people, as they age, they get more towards like, oh, I'm not going to bring this up. I'm not going to bring this up. So it is my goal to never get to this point that I'm just going to not bring it up. I'm not going to bring up being bi or being queer, or having a male fiance who's hot as hell, or, advocating for myself in a work environment or advocating for anybody in a work environment when I have the power to. The ability that I have to be proud of and enjoy talking about my hot fiance is because there were queer men and trans women and queer people that were really advocating for that 2 decades ago.
And thank God for them. And I
Yeah.
think it's great that we have people like you also in the industry that are speaking up for others when, maybe they don't feel comfortable and, or that finesse. Because it's like you got to read the room. You got to see what are the vibes for this gig sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, well, like you've done a lot of contracting, especially for string players.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you've also, maybe that's suppositional. Have you run into cases where you feel like you've had to really advocate in a situation where you're like, this isn't cool the way you're acting, or you're asking us to do something
Oh my God.
out of control? I mean, we did a gig together where they were asking us to do something out of control, and it was like, okay.
Wait. Oh, are you talking about the one where like, oh, just play piano along to the music, but you're on the other side of the room? I'm like, how's he
Yeah.
gonna hear?
And it
But
was like playing along to these string quartet recordings, and then I had you and not the recording piped into the other side of the room where I was playing
Oh,
piano.
that's right. It was not at all what we had discussed. And we got there and we were like, what? In those moments, I'm just like, guys, we're not going to stress over this. They know the circumstances. I've already said he can't hear us.
Right.
So it was more an aesthetic thing. And oftentimes it is just for the look. And usually it's with weather. People don't realize, especially string instruments can't be outside. If it's less, even like 60 degrees, it's cold and it's hard to play. The dexterity just goes. And
Yeah, and the tuning too.
I had to find out the hard way about like a rain plan. I unfortunately didn't really have like a mentor in this city when I first moved. It was just kind of me on my own island. I didn't go to school here, so
Mm.
I didn't really have anyone that I could ask about those types of things when I was starting to book gigs. They'll say, "Oh, it's just a light sprinkle." And I'm like, "No. The instrument can't get wet.
Yeah.
I can't get wet. Like, this is wood." And a lot
Yeah.
and not everyone has like a quote gig instrument. And yeah, even a gig instrument isn't cheap. It's just
Mhm.
not maybe the price of half of a house. I don't think that's ever going to go away. Even when I have it in the contract, there's pushback. And even with like, so that's what's just with cold.
Mm.
So when it's summertime and it's the Hamptons, you have these sometimes very catty event planners that they have a certain look that they want. There was one gig, it was in their backyard. I got there
Classic.
and I didn't see any overhead covering. The owner of the company wasn't there yet. And I was just like, we need to figure this out because it's where the ceremony is in 45 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know how to do that. Like you're comfortable taking that
But I
leadership.
would have, but yeah, in the beginning, I would have never.
Yeah.
I used to just bite my tongue. There was one, it was 85 degrees, and we had to do a prelude ceremony and the ceremony and cocktail, and it was just direct. I had the worst burn on my back. You know, I was just
Ugh.
too afraid to say something. I was
Yeah.
dripping sweat. She gave me a fan, and I was just like, okay.
Thanks,
Just,
girl. Yeah.
yeah, like it. So it also just goes to show the importance of having a mentor. No
Yeah.
matter where you live, just
Yeah. Yeah.
once you get into a field that you really want to commit to, there are resources everywhere.
Totally.
Slide into those DMs. It's weird now being someone that's DMs people slide into
Yeah.
because I've only been in the city 8 years, but I still feel like I'm learning and I'm still adjusting and calibrating to the city and the changes
Sure.
in our industry constantly. Like I think you know this, I DJ now while I play the violin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm constantly learning these things, but I'm also learning to ask people
Right.
for advice and things like that. Not everyone is receptive to it, but like 85% of the time, they're going to write back to you. They want to talk to you. I think most people do want to give back and do want to help others. It's the ones that are like, don't get me wrong, there are some gatekeepy people for sure.
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
And not that I'm in this like certain place above other people, but even now, I still get people that are kind of gatekeepy that won't answer a very
Oh,
easy
same.
question,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, all right, I'll find someone who
Yeah,
can,
those people that want to safeguard their own protection around how they have or acquire or keep or whatever jobs
Mhm.
exist at every level. I mean, I remember I've encountered those people in college, right? Where like no one's getting paid, like
Yeah,
yeah.
but you also weren't doing just music too, right? And I just remember
Oh, right,
this.
yeah, yeah. I mean, well, famously, I like don't I don't really have like any academic music training. That's not true, but I do want to say like. Wait, let me gather my thought here because
No,
I have
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
like,
I know, we just opened up, like, Pandora's box
yeah,
here.
yeah. Oh, okay. We have the benefit in the music industry specifically of being part of the creation of the rules and the confines
Mhm.
because it is an unregulated industry with completely non-standard and completely unregulated hiring practices, right? The jobs that you and I get, we don't find from job postings. They're not on LinkedIn. They're not in normal job capacities. They happen because somebody remembers you, thinks you're good at something, thinks you're hot, whatever. And that is the way that the entertainment industry has existed for a really long time. What that means, in addition to it being kind of all over the place and difficult to keep track of, is that we get to help create the rules around how people are treated. And that's why again, like I think that we've had different journeys and probably ended up at about the same place because I know you were like not to speak of your experience, but from what you said, you were like a really shy kid, like famously like would not talk. And like I, as a kid, I wouldn't shut up. And so for me, I've had to come away from like not talking at every possible opportunity. And you've had to come to the space of not staying small and like right in the middle where we're figuring out and deciding when and where we can advocate.
That's such an interesting point that you brought up, and now I get out of my brain thinking of you as this cute little kid that's just like, "La, la, la, la,
Oh yeah, I was a little tub monster running around like excited about everything, but I mean I was always in trouble.
la."
And I have two older brothers that were total miscreants. Like we were all three of us could not stay out of trouble. To bring it back to what we were talking about school, like I was very academic and liked school, but I was also bored a lot. I had a short attention span. It's so funny. Jonathan and I were laughing. And well, I was laughing and I made him laugh with me about on my like second grade report card, it says, Nick is a joy to have in class. We really love him and cannot focus. And in adulthood, that's kind of how I feel. I aim to talk to people and get to know them and really, really care about people. But I am also really thinking about seven different things all the time.
Oh my
Right.
God, same.
And so that really affected my academic journey because when I was going to school, I didn't really think that going to school for music was an option because I didn't have basically any formal training. I had voice lessons, but I didn't have any formal training on keyboard, on flute or guitar or anything that I played. I had never taken lessons for. I was the first person in my immediate family to get a bachelor's degree. So it just wasn't really an option. But I thought I was going to be a math major, and I went to go visit Oberlin in Ohio. And on the way, I was visiting a friend who was going to Baldwin Wallace, which is where I ended up getting my undergrad. And long story short, I ended up connecting with the musical theater program there and auditioned, got in, and was a part of the musical theater program as a music director for my freshman year. But I was largely paying for college myself. And I had some help from some extended family that was really beautiful and helpful, but largely it was on me. And so I was taking loans I was working nonstop. I would wake up to go be in ballet boot camp at 7 a.m. And then I would play for rehearsal until 11 o'clock at night. People were saying, oh, your playing's not up to snuff on this thing. Yeah, I've never taken a piano lesson and I don't have any time to practice. And so, I was an 18-year-old and constantly, like, it was like this wild experience of like, I know that I want to be here learning, but I don't have the time and I cannot do all these things and then show up and be basically a hired accompanist for free for educational experience and do a great job. Like I wasn't there as a pianist at that point. And I had an incredible voice teacher at the time, Annette Canfield, who told me about a student that had left the conservatory program because he felt that his experience and his viewpoint was being narrowed, not widened.
Okay.
And that I have like things that I really stereotypically call aha moments all the time. Like things where somebody says something and then it clicks and then I get it. That is one of those huge aha moments where I was like, this is not what I'm supposed to do. This is not what's best for me. So I decided I was like, I'm no longer going to be in the conservatory, which dropped my tuition significantly for a couple different reasons. I got better scholarships. The liberal arts school was cheaper. I got to study abroad. I got a Bachelor of Arts. I got to mess around and do classes that I wanted to take that didn't have to do with music, not mess around. I got to take those classes. And as long as I stayed in the choir, in the ensemble, I got to keep my music scholarship. So it was a really, really difficult freshman year. But then I was thinking, well, maybe I should transfer, whatever. Didn't end up transferring, had an amazing study abroad experience that changed the trajectory of my life, changed my perspective on the arts in the US versus the arts in Europe. And I ended up getting a degree in a program that I devised myself that was called theater and concert production. In everyday life, I usually just say that it's arts management, but I call it theater and concert production. So originally I thought I was going to be a math major when I was a kid. And then in the pandemic, I taught myself to code. I got a job as a data analyst to sort of like fill the gaps in music. And then now on tour, because I have the time, I'm working towards my master's in applied statistics. And when
Oh.
I was going to the data science program that I went to, I started to write for Medium and Towards Data Science, these online publications. And my articles, one of them was about the ability of a film to succeed as a Broadway musical and vice versa, like how you could predict the success of a musical based on the film. It was, but most of the articles and projects that I wrote had nothing to do with theater or music. So
Wow.
I am like interested in the world around me. And I love music. I have never viewed music as the only thing that I can do, obviously, or professionally either. But I love it and I'm good at it and I love the emotional connection it elicits between other people. I think about that with Phantom all the time. Music is not a monolith in my life. It is a huge part of my life, but it has been vocational primarily, in addition to other stuff that I do. And so my academic interest is statistics. Right now, I'm not planning to leave the music industry and go become a statistician, but I don't know. I mean, I believe that there are plenty of opportunities in this life to integrate those two things if I want to, or if the right job and opportunity comes along to take a break from music. When my fiance and I are talking about wanting a family and like we own a house already, we have other goals in our lives that don't just have to do with music. I really want to do the kind of things that are going to support those decisions as well. Like life has to be more holistic than just getting the gig and keeping the gig.
It is a lot of times an uphill battle. And I was going to ask you, if you weren't doing music, is there something else you see yourself doing? But I guess you just answered that question.
Yeah, math and statistics. My core mission statement as a person is to try to seek my own truth and help other people uncover their truths in whatever way that means. And I think that math and statistics is rooted in that. Like finding the truth of a story, the truth in data, and being able to share that and communicate it to others.
So you're studying for a master's degree right now while on tour with Phantom of the Opera?
Yeah. So I'm in
wow!
an online program.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
How much longer do you have?
It's about 2 years.
Okay.
And it's like, it's sort of how fast I can complete it, but based on the tracking, it'll be about 2 years.
Wow, that's so exciting. Okay, so you're like studying during the day, you do Phantom at night. Is there anything you can speak on without breaking NDA with Phantom that's been really great or that you want to share with people that might not know about what it's like to be a touring with
of course.
Major production?
Yeah, it's definitely that they've made it work. There's a couple things that I've learned through this process. It's very, very different from my previous touring experience, which was also a union show, but like we did a lot of one-nighters and split weeks and things were a little crazy. And we were protected, but not really in the same way. There were rules and regulations that were followed, but it was just more chaotic. This experience is with a lot of folks that are partnered, maybe older, at a different place in their lives. And although we do have younger people, everyone's really disciplined and sort of takes the job and their preparation for the job really seriously. On Jersey Boys, the vibe was very different, right? I mean, there were a lot of like really young people. We took our job very seriously, but we also took the hang and the partying very seriously. Like we were out and about. I had my year on the road of like wild chaos and stories that are for the midnight version of this podcast. But Phantom...
The subscribed Patreon.
The Patreon, the OnlyFans. But the Phantom experience... I'm around a lot of people that have really taught me about integrity and discipline, and musicians and performers alike that take this job and their music very, very seriously and need that proper execution and performance to be paramount every single day. And that has inspired me to be more disciplined in my life. Specifically within Phantom, there's a lot of, like you said, this is an enormous brand, probably one of the largest musical brands in our lifetime. And there are a lot of people that come to the show that are really deeply, deeply connected to Phantom. And that is a responsibility that I think I previously underestimated. I think I have a lot of faith in myself and my skills, and I was really, really interested in the job and getting the job. And now I spend more time thinking about the end receiver, about what I can do to make sure that I do the job well. So I think I've learned a lot about integrity here and consequently taking pride in your work. Because we have spent a lot of time in chaotic environments and chaotic wild gigs where I'm saying I'm doing it for the story, where I don't really have a lot of time to take pride in the work because I'm so busy adjusting to the circumstances, right?
Do you take pride in the dinner gig that we did?
Oh God, no. But it's a great story.
Yeah, they didn't even feed you right. It was crazy.
Oh yeah. No. That was hilarious. But again, it was like doing it for the story.
They loved us.
Would you care to share the details of that? Because that's also like a really good gig story.
I contacted you. I'm like, hey, there's this company out in Jersey who want a violin piano duo. Are you down? And I remember you were like, yeah. And I'm like, great. So also there's another part to this. It is at one of golf courses, and he's not going to be there or anything, but It is for an establishment that heavily supports a side of a lot of things that neither of us subscribe to. And I remember we were like thinking about it, like, okay, it's a pretty good paying gig, so we'll just never tell anyone about it. And here I am on the pod.
Like, I don't know, like, I thought it was funny. Like that, so
Yeah.
I was interested and down for it. But
Yeah.
yeah, there were like portraits
Oh
everywhere.
my gosh, yeah, his
Yeah.
face was everywhere in that country club.
Yeah.
I think there is a line, if it was an event for him and he was
Oh,
going to be
hard
there
pass.
and all that. I don't know if there's a number. Well, there's always a number.
Honey.
But I would probably have to stipulate, like, no one can know about this, but I'm
Yeah.
going to charge you 25,000 times what someone else would charge you.
Yeah. No,
if
I
you
mean,
want me to do this.
I've been now. I have either been on or had the potential to be on 3 different events that were a part of the Kennedy Center season. 2 of them pulled out, and
Oh.
one of them is continuing, which coincidentally I decided to not do, not because of the Kennedy Center, but
Mm-hmm.
I do have to say I am not totally sure how I would respond under the auspices of like, hey, this is happening at X venue that now, and it's like really awful that now the Kennedy Center is so associated
I know.
in name and in everything. So I agree with your evaluation of that. My politics are not necessarily as deep liberal as a lot of folks in our lives, but this has gone so far beyond politics and the sort of people to be represented with and be working under in any way.
Absolutely.
That at the time was the venue as opposed to the organization, right? So like the organization was a normal, like rich company that we were paying for, that we all do gigs for, which I guess, there's a moral question there. If we're going to be really honest, like there's a moral question there too.
I remember we found books that were children's books and we're like, what in the World War II propaganda is this?
Yeah. And it was like him beating up as a cave woman.
It was like specifically something that you would read with your kid. Like it was easy vocabulary and cartoons. It was kind of
I mean, we're seeing that stronger than ever now. Like, I don't think I or my parents and relatives ever expected that to happen in my lifetime in America.
One of my best friends moved to Portugal. She had a child. Her child was actually born on Insurrection Day. I think it was like the 5th or 6th of January.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And she was like, I don't know what's going to happen. And then I think her final straw was actually the Uvalde, Texas shooting.
Oh my God.
And she was like, I'm done with this country. I'm done. And so she moved her family over to Portugal. And now she has a baby that she had over there. They have their citizenship, but she chose Portugal because it's the quickest way to get your European citizenship. And I think, honestly, I would probably be inclined to move abroad as well if I wasn't in this field. But I think it really limits, depending on what you want to do. And you're really smart that you're just learning and continuing education. I really admire you for that. It kind of makes me wonder, damn, I think I need to do some more, because right now, the kind of work that I do, I'm restricted to a place that's a big city.
Sure, of course.
Whether it's LA or New York, maybe some work in Miami. I'm going to Florida next weekend for a gig. I have to be in those kind of areas.
Yeah, of course. And it's expensive, right? I mean, I would not be able to do this if I were not on tour making a great paycheck. And also because I'm able to do it during the day when I have time. A lot of the reason I never went to grad school for music, which I was interested in doing, is I know how difficult it would be for me to take time away from working, which I really enjoy doing, to learn about music. And there's a lot that I could benefit from it, and I could become a better musician because of it. But I also know I don't think I would finish a conservatory graduate degree. And
I barely did.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, but I don't think that I would. And so I'm undertaking a task and a degree that I think that I can finish. And I think you should too. Like, honestly, you're smart and interested in other things, or not. If you were to get like an MBA or whatever, or get something completely unrelated to music, like, I thankfully am in the position that I'm able to pay for it. But when you are able to figure out money, whether that's through whatever you have, it's worthwhile and it's cool. And it's also, when it was cold, And sometimes still at this one, like, oh my God, what am I doing here? I'm like in Chicago. I don't live here. My fiance's on the other side of the country. All my friends are back in New York. And it's like increased my self-esteem and sort of purpose around just like learning something. Because doing the gig over and over again on a show like this, where I'm coming up on my 77th performance of Phantoms tonight.
Already?
Oh yeah. And there's
Oh
gotta be
my
more and more and
gosh.
more. I mean, we're gonna hit 250 this year for sure, probably 300
I'm
come
gonna
through.
come.
Yeah.
I want to so badly. I mean, how often do you have a friend that is touring with one of the greatest musicals of our time? You know, it's such an honor that you're the one that got the job.
Full Phantom girl.
A full-
Nighttime darkens, heightens each sensation.
This is why I chose you as my first episode.
So that I would sing.
For this moment.
Yeah, I said that. Say precisely so that I would sing. But yeah, we've got Chicago is, by the time this comes out, we'll be done in Chicago. But then we've got Detroit, St. Louis, New Orleans, Denver, Salt Lake City, Portland, Seattle, LA, San Francisco, Costa Mesa, and a bunch of cities that are yet to be announced for 2026, 2027.
You get those flight points, girl.
Baby! You know that I am an American Airlines loyalist, and I have finally achieved
American?
status. American Airlines, yeah. Are you a Delta Diva?
I have the American Airlines credit card, and I use it exclusively just to pay for my therapy.
American Airlines. Oh, okay. Just kidding.
So I have the priority boarding, and I keep the credit card. So if I do go on American, I have the priority boarding because I'm
That's right.
a crazy person with my violin, and I want
That's
my
right.
violin to have space.
100%.
Most of my gigs have booked me on Delta, which, oh my God, I landed in LA for my tour this summer for the rehearsals. And when I got my suitcase from baggage claim, a wheel was off of it. And I was just like, I'm going to be traveling Europe and everywhere for 3 months. How am I going to have a suitcase that has 3 wheels? And I wrote Delta, and they replaced the suitcase. I had it sent to New York, and then Mac flew out with it at the end of the tour because I was just collecting a bunch of stuff on the tour. I needed 2 full suitcases for my for my travel back.
I was going back and forth about where to pledge my loyalty. It became American, and it has paid off because I'm quite close to platinum. But seriously, because to take a lot of like short domestic flights, I get upgraded all the time, and I feel very bougie.
Oh my God, I love the automatic upgrades.
Yeah.
Work that credit card
Honey.
and make sure I'm doing it, smart and
yeah. We are caught in this capitalist system, and I embrace it.
That's when Dave, I get obsessive sometimes.
Yeah, I have a spreadsheet. I definitely have a spreadsheet.
You have a spreadsheet? I have caved as of my summer tour because I was using ChatGPT as my little travel agent.
Your
and
second boyfriend.
I would put in my chat that I'm in this city. Here's my hotel. I could walk around. What can I do in this amount of time? It really broke down exactly what I needed. And now I have a little thread on my chat, tracks my MQDs, and it's really, really fantastic.
We're in a podcast like disclosing all of our financial information and be like, here's all my credit cards. But 100%. Yeah.
Honestly,
I'm a Chase Sapphire Diva.
This is great advice. If you can afford to get a credit card,
Honey.
Look at the benefits and see what works for you. For me, it's worth it to invest in a card that has certain perks in the lounge and all of that. And honestly, if you're not using the lounge at the airport, food is really expensive. But if it makes sense for you, you actually end up saving a little money.
No, totally. I share so much of the same thoughts with you about the credit card. I never think about that annual fee because I've already absorbed that I'm going to pay it. But I am constantly thinking about the fact that I get to go sit at the lounge. And if I want to have a cocktail that I'm able to, I definitely get food. I can save $30, $40, $50 that I would otherwise spend at the airport. And then also, to your point, if you're somebody that likes to fly bougie, that gets you upgraded way quicker than spending extra money on the actual first class flight.
The Sapphire Lounge at LaGuardia is amazing.
It's so beautiful. And the one at JFK has showers, which is amazing.
You shower at the airport?
100%. If there's an airport lounge with a shower, I'm in there. I'm butt-ass naked, ready to go.
I've never showered at the airport. Although
get into it.
The Chase Sapphire Lounge, I'll never forget, at LaGuardia. The first time, it was so beautiful that I forgot that it was 7:30 in the morning. I went right to the bar, got myself an espresso martini.
Yes.
I sent a picture to my boyfriend and he was like, it's 7:30 in the morning. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You
But
just
also,
forget.
let's not judge. I'm in the lounge.
Oh yeah. He was a bartender at the time. So
Yeah.
anyway, wrapping this up, I kind of want to do like a quick little lightning round of whatever the first thing that comes to you. Don't have to think about it too much. It's all music related and gig related.
Okay.
But
let me lock in.
all right, lock the F in. Here we go.
Locked.
Okay, where the am I? I'll cut that out.
No, don't. It's so real.
I'm gonna I'm gonna make Mac edit this just so he can listen to our tomfoolery.
Miss him. Please send him my best. I think about him every time I do the Romanian deadlifts because he gave me tips on how to like keep my shoulders proper, and the same for chest press.
I just did RDLs yesterday.
Yeah, baby.
I'm dying.
Yeah. Yes. I'm about to do them today.
Oh my God. You poor thing. Okay, weirdest or funniest thing someone's ever asked you to do on a gig?
I have two things. One of them is more general. I was a cocktail delivery boy for a gay cocktail like pre-made service in COVID-19.
Okay.
And when I delivered a cocktail, somebody did ask me to take my clothes off and said that he would give me an extra $75.
Did you
for
take your clothes off?
$75? Absolutely not.
Would you
0%.
have taken your clothes off for $1,000?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. That's above my threshold for sure.
I just asked Mac like yesterday. I did the trend of I videoed him. I was like, "Hey, would you punch me in the face for $1 million?" I didn't even finish the sentence, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll punch you twice."
Would you punch me in the face? Yes, livid. Wait, the other thing that I want to make sure that I say is that I had to dress as Santa and play cocktail piano for a Christmas party. And I thought it was going to be cool. Like people would talk to me and be like, hey, Santa, what's up? Nobody spoke to me. I was like in the middle of the party dressed as this like little Twinkie Santa playing along and nobody made eye contact. No, it was weird.
You know, we've all been there with weird gigs.
Weird attire. Yeah.
Have you ever done a gig you swore you'd never do again? And any advice on that?
A gig I would never do again. I think there's a lot that I would never do again. But I think at the time a lot of it is the weighing of how much the gig is paying, like versus what the actual gig is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's plenty of gigs that I wouldn't do again for the price that I did them, right? Like working at summer stock theaters for $200 a week. Or whatever, you know, like there's plenty of stuff that I wouldn't do anymore because now I know how to represent myself better. But is there any gig that I wouldn't do again because I just like didn't like it? I can't really think of anything that I wouldn't do again if the price is right.
Me, it's a funeral. I've done one funeral and that was enough.
Yeah, you said no more funerals.
I've never experienced seeing pain like that ever. Or hear it, like the sounds that come out of people that are in that much pain. I was sitting there and I couldn't even move, and I will never do that again.
Yeah, that's real. Well, okay, I do have one answer. I played for a set of auditions for a show that I had worked on in sort of the development, the workshops, and I wanted to work on when I went to Broadway. And I was really, really sick when I played these auditions, and it was not good. And then I played the first day and I was supposed to come back for the second day, and they said, hey, the director wanted a different accompanist for the second day.
So just don't do it sick.
I think that I put myself through something really unpleasant that my body was actively resisting because I wanted to do the next thing. But in reality, I ended up making it an idiot of myself and doing a bad job for the people. You can be too sick for the gig and hold to that because it's ultimately you're not going to do a good job. The person's not going to get what they want out of it. And like, know your limit about being sick and doing a gig.
I think people get worried about being replaceable, but at the end of the day, sometimes it's like better for everyone. Just stay home, get yourself better.
You're not going to do your best. Stay home. And no funerals for Tiff. Do not book.
No funerals for me. Don't hire me for a funeral unless you're paying me $100,000 for an hour. I'm not doing it.
Would you punch me in the face for yes? Would you play a funeral for no?
Okay, what's one dream collab artist?
Oh, does the person have to be alive?
No.
Whitney Houston. My hands down diva, voice of the best voice of the 20th century, maybe all time. She is my
Absolutely.
she is my diva. I think
Yeah.
alive mine would definitely be Jacob Collier.
Okay.
I have drunk the tea on Jacob Collier and I unabashedly drink that tea.
Okay, share me some stuff.
His music or
Yes.
yeah, I got you. I'll pop it in the chat.
Perf. One piece of advice you'd give freelancers starting right now in the city or
Yeah,
no?
I am often surprised on reflecting on me as a kid or 10 years ago, 5 years ago, that the life that I have right now is outside of the scope of what I imagined my life could be.
Mm.
I could never for me with Phantom was the first show I ever saw on Broadway and it was the first show that I ever sat in on Broadway. And because I am not classically trained, I never believed that that was a space that I could occupy and be in. I didn't even let myself dream to work on this show because it was so big and so separate from what I thought that I did.
Mm.
And now I'm here. The execution is not always perfect, but there's so much of the show where I'm like, I ate that. And that is just one of the many, many reasons that I never could have imagined my life and the things that I was going to do when I was especially a teenager and in college. I didn't know that I could orchestrate for a nonprofit arts organization that was an arts envoy for the federal government that would perform my orchestrations all over the world at U.S. embassies. I didn't know that I was going to orchestrate for Patti LuPone, that I was going to collaborate with Adam Lambert. I didn't really even know about the possibility yet. So it's so scary to think about the not achieving your goals and maybe not having notoriety and maybe not being there for your loved ones, whatever your goals might be. But when you learn and when you acquire skills, all kinds of different skills, not just around your instrument. Don't just learn to play the violin, learn to DJ, learn to contract, learn to sing, learn to do all these things. They're going to augment your ability. That is going to put you somewhere totally different from what your current dream is. Even if it's not totally different, it's going to be different because our world is changing so fast right now. You can resist that change and you can be a part of it and you can be somewhere on the spectrum in between. But what I wish I could say to myself 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago is like, you don't even know the blessings and the bounty and the gratitude you're going to have to be in the space that you're in. Even though stuff sucks along the way and it's sad and you're going to be sad and your friends are going to be sad and you're going to be sad with them. Like you just don't even know what's waiting for you.
Oh, so beautiful. And you really don't know what gig could take you somewhere else or what could be possible. I mean, us in this backwoods church in New Jersey, you're one of my closest friends. I mean, how many people can say that their friend will fly across the world to see you play one little, moment on stage?
Little moment, honey.
Well,
No. Let's talk let's
No, but you know what I mean.
When I came to see you performing in Oslo with Will Smith.
But that's what I'm saying. How many, I don't know. I have friends that wouldn't come to my birthday party because they're in Brooklyn and I'm in Queens. It's.
It's not even that far.
You're telling me.
Girl.
So it's just, you're a wonderful friend and a wonderful colleague. And I truly I'm so blessed we're still doing this journey together. And you've been such a great motivator. I feel like I've been mentored in this little pod episode.
Oh my God.
I'm like, damn, I gotta get my education in check here. So
that's very, very gracious of you. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
but
thank you for taking the time.
It's likewise. We are lifelong honies. That's why we need to get the bicep tattoos.
I do think this would be a really fun tattoo idea to get together sometime. Maybe when I come visit you. Oh,
wherever you do. Yeah.
Yes.
When For the Exposure does an in-person podcast.
We could do a little follow-up once I do visit you and be like, I could delve into so many more things. And as I remember saying in the first time we recorded this, 3 months ago, you will definitely be a recurring figure on this platform I've created. Who knows where this thing's going to go, but
OnlyFans.
You let's not spoil it for everyone. That's
It's for after.
And the twist is my guests will be the ones on OnlyFans. I'll just be facilitating. So
Spicy.
you bring out that Santa Claus outfit and
I'll take my clothes
dance
off
for
for
that
$75.
pizza.
Dance for the pizza.
Oh gosh. Well, Nick,
I'm
thank
out.
you again so much. And I can't wait to see you. Even if it's gonna be
Likewise.
cold, I'm gonna freeze my butt off. We'll just add it to the list of places we've seen each other.
That's right. The international list.
We international, baby. And I will definitely share the moment when I gave you that little gift from the first episode. I'll try and find a way to share that.
Oh my God. Okay. I won't spoil it for the crew.
No, you can. I gave him a little souvenir from my tour over the summer. I brought a little thank you back for coming to see me. Although you had your own mental souvenirs, you photobombed Will Smith. Not a lot of people can say they've done that. So
Yeah, my claim to fame. I did it for the exposure.
Ah! All right. Well, with that, thank you so much for tuning into this very first episode. There's more to come. I have more exciting personal friends and colleagues coming up here. But Nick Wilders, you can find him on Instagram. He's got a website. He's got everything. If you're in any part of the country and you want to see Phantom of the Opera, you might not see him, but you'll hear him.
Dun, 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 dun. If you hear a spooky synthesizer, that's probably me.
Oh, I'm so, now that I know what to listen for, I'm
Oh, yeah.
even more excited to come see you.
Spooky synth all the way.
All right, guys, take care.